Okay, this is my press. It's a Harbor Freight one. It's a 20-ton. What I'm going to do is I bought this hand swaging tool. This is the kind where you use the bolts. It comes with bolts. I took them out to swage. Well, I'm going to make it so I can just use the press to use this as a die. I looked up the regular, like the dies that they use for hydraulic presses, and they're just, they're lots of money. And then of course they have hand swages, but they're like $100. And I mean, this, I think I ended up paying like, I don't know, like 35 bucks for it. It's made in the United States. So it's probably a pretty good quality one. But I'm going to make a device to press this on here. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to show it being done here and how it turns out. Now I'm just going to bore this for the shaft on the press. I'm not going to go very deep. I'm just, it's just enough to go down inside, and then I'm going to probably put a set screw in there so it'll just kind of hang on there so it won't fall. I just faced it off. I'm going to go ahead and drill it, get it ready for some boring. There, I bored it out. Didn't do a perfect job, but it's good enough for this press. I went down about I don't know, I think it's about 5/8. I can't remember what I ended up at. Let's see here. Let's do a quick measurement. Actually, it's 9/16. So, good enough. Gonna put a couple set screws in there, and I'm probably gonna cut the bottom so be able to see under it easier. Is here. This thing is like almost oval, so it's a little bit. It's kind of it's just like a loose fit, which it has to be because it's oval. So, and then, like I said, I'm just gonna put a couple of set screws, and that's just basically so it just holds up there. I don't want it. It's not actually for any kind of structural or any kind of strength or anything. It's just so it doesn't fall down when I'm using it. So here's this part here. I think what I'm going to do is I put some Scribe Lines on there. This is the bottom. This is where it's going to touch the top of this, and then so it won't be in my way visually. This big giant block sitting on top, and it'd be hanging over like this, and not getting rid of its strength. I mean, or very little of it. I'm gonna start up here where the bore is, and I'm gonna taper it down to where I need it. I'm actually leaving 1/8 of an inch on each side, so it will be like a little view, little V on top of here, so it'll just kind of set on there. It's nothing more than just a guide, so I know when it's centered, so it'll just be easier. And I just threw it in the mill. I mean, there's nothing precision about these. This is more like metal carving than machining. So I just stuck it in the vise, and then it's pretty deep. It's down in there, so it has to stick out some. And then I just threw my stair up here. There, I have a scribe line there. I don't know if the camera picks it up, and then that'll just be my taper. There, I got that side tapered down. I'm gonna flip it over and do the same thing to the other side. I got both sides done. Take it out of here. See what it looks like. As you can see, it'll just be easy to see what I'm doing. I could have left it square, of course, but this is going to be better, visually when I'm trying to swage something. Okay, now I got it centered in there. It's the tapered there, and I'm going to cut a 3/4 inch slot. I'm going to go an eighth of an inch deep. Well, I'm going to final it out at an eighth of an inch. It should be good. Here's the slot, eighth of an inch deep. I used a 3/4 inch end mill, and I went a couple thousandths on each side just as a cleanup because it was a little bit tight, and I don't think I want it tight. So, I mean, it's there. I'm moving it. I'm trying to move it like this, so you can see it's just very little there. So I won't have no problem with it sticking on there or anything. And this is the top. So that should work good. Now I got to put the holes in it. Okay, now I'm boring a couple holes. I just bored this first one. It's almost an inch deep. It's actually 950 thousandths. It needs to be about 900 thousandths, so I went a little bit more, which it's, you know, I just wanted to give myself a little bit of room because of these studs. And then I had to go in another 120 thousandths once I sunk it down, because the holes on that swaging tool, depending on which swage you use, get progressively smaller. So the way I did it is I measured the longest length between the swages and then the shortest length, and then I started with the longest, and then I'm going to pinch in. I'm going to go 120 thousandths in on this one, 120 thousandths in on this one. So depending on which one I use, I can always use this same mount. I didn't realize that they had spaced the holes differently on there when I started it, but it doesn't matter. I just went ahead and ovaled these towards each other. Okay, I'm going to try to demonstrate this the best I can here. Okay, so these holes here, which are the furthest apart, these actually start getting smaller as far as, you know, how close they are. These ones are 1.476. So the center of this one to the center of this one is 1.476. And that's where I started at on here. That's the furthest out. So it's 1.476 would be the furthest out. And then what I did is I came in, as you can see they're kind of oval. I came in 120 thousandths on this one and 120 thousandths on this one. So, and the reason being is these get closer, but I still wanted to keep it centered. You know what I mean? Centered over this. So, and here's what it looks. Here's what it looks like. See, this would be the furthest one apart, which is the 1.476 measurement. And as you can see, I mean, there's a little plate, but that's because I used a 29/64 end mill. So I wanted it. I didn't use I think these are 7/16. So I used a little bigger end mill, which is good because, you know, they're actually going to be up here. I'm going to cut these heads off. So this part will be up here, and then these will be down. This will actually be up here. I just didn't cut them off yet, but yeah, so it'll fit. So it should be good. And then I'm going to go ahead and move them down to the smallest one, and then I'll show you that one. Okay, here they're on the smallest one, and then see, just a little bit of play, but it's still centered. Still stays centered in this block, so it should be perfect. And of course it'll fit these because this is the widest, then this is the second. You know, this gets progressively smaller, so it should be good. You can see just a little bit of play there. Just fine. I mean, you don't want it tight. You're just pressing it. You don't want it to stick in there. Okay, I got the. It's actually the same brand. It's swage-it. This is made in the United States too. This is just the smaller one. This is number 2. It says number 2 on there, and then this one has a number 3 on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and since I've already done this for the big one, I figured, well, I might as well just make the smaller one too while I'm here. So I just got a piece of 3/4 inch, It's a 1/2 inch thick, and it's going to have, so you can see the bolt sticking out of there. This isn't the bolt that came with it, obviously. I bought longer ones. And I'm going to go ahead, and I already cut it to length, so it fits flush on here. And I machined the ends off. And I'm going to go ahead and this is a 1/2 inch wide. So this 3/4 inch is going to have I'm going to take a end mill and run a 1/2 inch through there and put a couple screw holes, just tiny ones on the ends here, so then this can be attached to it when you need to. So I'm going to go do that. Okay, as you can see, I put the slot in there, and that's so this will fit in there in the slot. As you can see, it was this thing's a 1/2 inch. I went out a few thousandths on each side to make it, just so it wasn't so sticky, sort of like the last one. And now I'm gonna make some holes in it for these bolts. Here's the math I came up with on these. This is like the last one. The bolts are wider here than they are here. So I went from the largest gap to the smallest. The largest gap center to center bolt was 950 thousandths, and the small was 762 thousandths. And I'm just going to oval towards, when I cut them, I'm going to oval towards each one of them, 94 thousandths on each side. So then that'll give me the 188 thousandths. That's the difference between 762 and 950. And I'm going to use, these bolts are, let's see what we got here. Or 5/16. I'm using a 5/16 end mill on this because I have that size, so should be all right. Here's what the numbers look like so far, instead of going off of that paper. 3/4 inches wide. Then the slot was, and it ended up being 0.504, 504 thousandths. Then the center of the bolts will be 950 thousandths, and then the smallest center of the bolts will be 762 thousandths. And to get that, once you do the 950, and once you plunge like an end mill, you'd bring it back 94 thousandths here, 94 thousandths here, and then that'll give you the 762. There I oval them out with a 5/16 end mill to the specifications I had on the paper. So I'll check it here in a little bit. I'm going to do some other things. Gotta drill some holes. There I drilled the 3/16 inch holes, the mounting holes. It's going to be for these screws. I just found these button tops. This is what I got, so I'm going to use these. And now I'm going to use which I have in there, is a 3/8 inch end mill. I'm going to sink it down about, I don't know, this head's like 100 thousandths deep, so I'll go 105 thousandths so the head won't stick up. Well, here's what I just did. I put these bolt holes in here, centered the D arrow, and it went out 1 and 152 thousandths, 3/16. Well, that's just what I used. I mean, you could use whatever you want. And then I had to countersink them, but they're loose in here. So, and then I ended up just slotting towards the outside because it was right on the edge. So I just went ahead and slotted it out. And then I'm gonna have to, now I gotta go back and drill the holes into this. So these are the exact same size, so I'll just do the 1.152 on here. But I'm gonna have to use I'm gonna tap it I drill and tap these. Okay, I didn't have it off there, so I couldn't show you. So this is why I slotted the holes. This is on the smallest, this is on the 16th inch ferrule. And then you can see these hit the inside of the lip there, and it still stays centered. Yep. Now I'm going to move them all the way the other side. And here it is on the 1/8 inch ferrule. This is the widest point. Same deal. Just fits. As you can see, they're on the outsides now. They were on the insides. So the middle one will be in the center of them ovals. So, and it's centered. So this would be the center of the press of the wedge part. So, all good on that. Okay, here's the wedge. I threaded these. They're 1024s. And I also chamfered them. This goes on top of here. I actually changed these to Phillips heads. This is the better length. And I figured I might not want to have to go chasing after these keys. So, nice buttery smooth. I use the thread forming tap in these. There it is. Onto the bottom part. This is for the top. Actually, I still got to do one more thing. I got to put a set screw in here. Now I'm going to put the set in. I measured it down. The center of the set's going to be 3/8 of an inch from the top. I'm putting a 1/4 20 in, 1/4 inch coarse thread set screw. So let me do that. Okay, here's the set. I'll countersunk it a little bit. You can see it's about 1/8 of an inch from the bottom inside there. Use the thread forming tap, 1/4 20. This is a set screw here. Him in there. Get close. No. I mean, you don't need much. You just want it to stay up there. It's not like structural, it's just to hold this block up there. So, that's done. Now here's the bottom support. I'm just making it so I can set the swager on top of it and then have those bolts stick down through, because I kind of want them tight in that die. So I want to put them up to the shank where it's non-threaded. So this hole, as you can see, it's put off to the side here because I want to leave room for some clamps. So that hole here, so the bar was 7 13/16, and the first hole centered at 3.5 inches, and it was centered at 1/2 inch in. And then I'm going to put another hole here, but like the other one, this die, the holes are progressively shorter, so I want to make it so I can use every one of those dies. The furthest one, which is the 1/4 inch swage, the biggest one, is 5 20/1000. That's where I'm going to start the center of the end mill, the 7/16 end mill, and then I'm going to oval it back towards the other hole to 4.750. Smallest one, this is the 1/8 of an inch. Okay, these bolts I'm using, they're 7/16, and the entire bolt was 3 inches 200 thousandths. I just cut the heads off, and then I, tapered them a little bit and sanded them down. And on these, the threads were 1 1/4 inches up the shaft, and then I cut it to 2 inches 900 thousandths. So that's what we got here. And then these pins will fit up inside the. I just checked them over there. And then so this actually. Oh, this is. That's right. It's like that. And then this is the 1/8 of an inch. You see, I hammered little lines on here, and I actually hammered lines on all this other stuff too, so it'd be easier to see where the center is, which is not going to matter, because these pins are going to line it in the head, and that centers that ram over everything. So I'll pull these out, and I'll show you the longest one here, real quick. So you know that it'll. I haven't actually checked this myself yet, but I assume it will fit. This is the longest spread here. And all the other ones are in between the spread there. And this will always keep it centered in the under the ram. Plus these pins always keep it centered. There's the farthest one. It fits in right in there. And this would be here. I'll show you how far this goes up with a swage in it, or ferrule, or whatever you want to call it. See, the pins will be protruding up into the. So this is about the right length. I'm going to show you what it looks like over on the press. Okay, I have it so my press is this thing's all the way up on this press, and the ram is all the way up. So, doing that, which is good, you got to move this plate out of the way. And then just kind of efficiency with this. So then the pins are just kind of locked in there. I mean, it's loose, but there's enough room to put the swage, just slide right in. I'm not touching anything. So, then you just push this over, I guess. But yeah, so then that's that. And then you can see the lines up. That's the center of this one. So, actually, I might not even, on here I won't even need to clamp these down because it's basically being held in there by that. So, I'll move this. Let's see, I wanted to do one of the other ones. Let me turn off the camera for a second. Okay, I moved it to the 1/8 inch one. Find the pinholes. It's centered. Just lift it up. And this thing's not that low. It stays right in here. Let me pull the camera back. It up. Sweet. And I made it, those holes are deep enough. I already checked it, which I already checked this before I even did any of this, but the holes are plenty deep enough so the pins go all the way up in it. They don't bottom out up in there before this is completely seated. So that's that one. Okay, this is the smaller one, and I cut the heads off the bolts, and they're 5/16 bolts, and my bolts were 2 inches 150 thousandths. The thread's about an inch. Well, it's an inch long, and I cut them. Well, they're finished size after I, cut them, and then I beveled the tops a little bit. They are 1 inch 900 thousandths, and this was I don't know if I had this on there, but I used a 1/2 inch by 3/4 inch stock to make this the thing that fits up into the wedge for the smaller one. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to make the bottom plate for this, because I need another one, so I can just use this separately on, I mean, I'm going to use it on top of the other one, but anyway, the stock size here is 1.5 by half. The reason it's a half is because once you screw these all the way down, they're about, I don't know, I think they were like 470 thousandths, so because I don't want them to come through, so. And this bar ended up, which doesn't matter, I mean, you can make it 4 inches, I guess, but I ended up at 4 inches, 60 thousandths. And then the 5/16, I'm going to use a 5/16 end mill. So it's 400 thousandths in, and 1 inch 550 thousandths for the first one. And this is exactly the same as the top wedge that I did that goes in the wedge for this. And then it just spread up 950 thousandths to the center of each plunge with the end mill, and then back, they go back, so between those 762 thousandths, and you're ovaling them 94 thousandths each hole towards each other after the plunge. So I'm going to go make that now. Okay, here's that piece. I just did that. Let me get the paper. Here's that one. And the reason I'm writing all these down and doing it, because I mean, this is all the work. You know, calculating all this stuff, trying to make stuff, figure out stuff, how it's going to work. You know, a lot of times when you're doing something like these, I didn't realize that these are spaced all different. I just, you know, so I added all this extra ovaling these holes. Okay, so here is the 16th. As you can see, it's on the inner side, so it's just a nice little bit. And I'll show you what it is like on the biggest one. Because this is the smallest, this is the medium, this is the large, so if it fits in the biggest and the smallest and the biggest, then you're set. At least on these. Yeah. Yep. Just a little bit, just a nice little bit there. So I put them out on the edge of these because, you know, you're going to have the loop out here, and I just figured it's, you know, you want like a little bit more space. I don't put it all the way out on the edge. I leave a little bit here. But so I'm going to go back over to the press and show you what it looks like on there. Okay, I got the wedges on, and then I got the insert for the smaller swage. And you still use the, because I was going to make a whole new piece of aluminum, but I was like, you know what, I'm not going to take a big, it's not going to be like 1 inch and 1/8 thick. I was like, why would I do that? I just got this 1/2 inch because these stick out about 470 thousandths, so 1/2 inch is good. So anyway, like this, slide this one here, and then you'd move that, push this up into its pin holes, so, and then that's it. And it gives you room, one view of it. Those pins lock it in there, because then you can, you know, you can rig up your cable. This is, you know, it's loose, but it's not going to matter. So this, you know, this stuff won't move. There, that's all I cut off. So now it goes right up in there. So yeah. all set. Actually, I was just thinking about this. If there wasn't enough room in there, take that out and just hit the press. Bring the press down until you got the appropriate amount. Start use this piece. I was just thinking like quick changing from going from this size to this size. I guess I don't know. So works just fine the way it is. You could use it right on there. I mean, the press is all the way up, so got a lot of travel.